All right, starting the assembly now. Box number one has the tools and the screws we need. We're gonna start with the frame parts. It's interesting, there's some slight differences between what's in the docs and what I got. It looks like these parts over here don't have holes in them. These ones over here, the holes aren't kind of the same like they are in the ducts. And then the X-Rail has some new holes that aren't in the ducts, so that's interesting. We'll have to have to be careful with that. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm starting to assemble the frame, starting with the parts labeled front. The parts labeled left. Two of those, and using the two crossbars here that don't have any holes in them. There's an extra hole over here. I'm not sure what to do, why that is, but I guess we'll find out. And yeah, so we're using the big screws, and one of the metric drivers fits it fine. And I'm not doing the bolts completely tight yet. I think I'll wait on that. But the first part's done. Okay, right side's done. Once again, there's an extra hole over here that doesn't seem to be in the manual, but I guess that's for some kind of new feature. Okay, so now we got the frame partially put together here. Got the first two pieces assemblies connected now. One difference is the bottom rail here doesn't have the holes like it does in the instructions, so we'll see what that means. The little labels here do help a lot, I think, to make sure you get everything on the right way. Yes, it doesn't mention them in the instructions, but they are definitely useful. And this one, this label is not there. But all right, next. So looking a couple steps ahead, I just realized that this middle bar with the 4 holes in it is in the wrong way. So we're gonna want to stick bolts in here from the outside, which means we want this part facing down, the counterboard facing down. So we're just gonna loosen these bolts and then rotate it around like that. I think this is the way it should be. Okay, so frame's almost done now. Only 3 bars left. I just added these 2 bars to the outer holes as instructed. I had to loosen some of these bolts in order to get those parts in, but I just retightened them. Okay, moving on. Okay, seems we have it all together now, at least the frame. Got found the bag of 8 of these caps. Kind of different than the instructions, but I guess they work maybe better. I'm kind of surprised we didn't have to 3D print these. I'll take it. And I guess that's the end of the frame. So next up is this linear bearing, and I'm using this last piece of rail just to make sure that these things are in there loose enough so that they can turn into place. So yeah, so just making sure these guys are loose when they go in, so they go into place. And I didn't realize that somehow I was thinking that this part was the spacer for the 7 and 4 millimeters gaps we need at the ends, but this is actually just to keep the rail centered. And I only have one, so now I got to print out another one. I also only printed out 1 foot, so I got to print out 3 more of these guys right now. And I guess we just got a ruler here to set 7 millimeters on one side and 14 millimeters on the other. So that's up next, as soon as I get the second center piece printed out, centering piece printed out. Okay, got the left bearing in. This thing is really oily, by the way. I probably should have worn gloves. If I was smarter, I would, but oil doesn't really bother my skin, so it's fine. And set the gap 7 millimeters on this side, 14 millimeters on this side. Did every other hole with the T-nut 20-M3 and the screws specified in the instructions. These looks like There's a lot more of them to do. And I'm still printing out the extra. I got 1 foot. I'm printing out 3 more now. So after I got this first rail, Y rail done, I realized I'm supposed to do a second one. So I installed the second one in the back, and I just installed the motor. And the motor wasn't exactly clear where it goes, but there's where it goes, I'm pretty sure. And it's also not clear, but there's a little spacer part that's in the instructions, but it doesn't specify it. But I think you obviously need that, because this blue thing wouldn't turn if there wasn't a spacer there, because it'd be buttoned up against the rail. And so in other news, I printed out a feeder, and I think it actually works. But my existing 3D printers weren't up to the task of these fine parts, so I just bought this Flash Forge. It actually did a pretty good job. I was able to, so now I can make feeders, so that's good. So I'm gonna do that in parallel. So I 3D printed my own end stops before I realized that it comes with some in box number 2. But this one over here, like I said, this is my old printer. 3D printer isn't that accurate, and it was like kind of a little too wide to fit in there, and I had to like trim it down with a knife, and then I banged it down using one of the rails, the X rail. And I banged it down too much. I need to pry it back out of there now. So I think in the future I'll use mine for this one, and I'll use theirs for the 7mm gap. So the PandaPlacer end stops don't really fit in that 7mm space either, but actually, now that I think about it, maybe it doesn't matter. As long as it doesn't interfere with anything, it's going to do its job anyway, probably, I think. Also, it's kind of interesting, the 1 screw you need for this are the only bag that doesn't seem to have a label. So, but that's them there. Okay, well, as soon as I had this first motor on the wrong side, I had it over here based on the pictures in the manual, but actually it belongs over on this side, which is back right. And so that makes sense. So now, I have to make sure that the shaft, this motor can connect to a shaft that goes through this hole, so that makes more sense. And then this thing lines up like it does in the instructions now. So I think we're in good shape now. I was a little bit lost for a minute because the instructions didn't show this rail, so it is hard to tell what's what, but I think I got it now. Okay, so I just got this drive shaft in. I didn't tighten it. I didn't do the set screws on it yet, but it's in. And the instructions are a little bit vague on this too, but this part looks like it has to be in here, inside of this thing. And there's actually set screws in the front of here that I had to loosen to get this to go in. And I had to get this shaft has to go inside of this blue thing, so I had to loosen the set screws. There's 2 set screws on this end that I had to loosen to get the shaft to go in. The shaft is in now. Sticks out a little bit on this side. It's really good. You know, I was having trouble. PandaPlacer sent me some pictures of an assembled unit, and that really helps a lot because this instructions are a little dicey. But yeah, and there's a little troubling that these brackets are a little bit not exactly vertical. I'm not exactly sure what that might mean yet. Yeah, I might have to try to jigger these a little bit. I'm not sure, but it seems okay like it is. So I don't know. Have to see if I might have to ask about that one. So while looking at photos to try to see if this bracket is supposed to be not exactly flush like this on this edge, it's kind of, see the bottom edge sticks out a little bit. I realized that this other belt thing needs to be here, so there's one on each end that has to go in. This wasn't quite clear in instructions, but that's how it looks like it has to be. So these brackets on the first rod here, they were a little bit not square with the frame, but the PandaPlacer person told me to loosen these bolts and to get it straightened. It looks like it's much better now. Straighten it out a little bit. I don't know why it was coming out a little bit crooked before, but I think this is all good now. I still haven't tightened everything, but so I guess we're ready to move on. So I just added these, what are they called? The bearing, these guys to either side. The image in the instructions shows the belt being there, but I don't think we're supposed to do that yet because I looked ahead. And over here I got everything tightened. I tightened these 2 set screws here to secure the rod to the drive. The only thing I think we're not supposed to tighten is these guys on either side here. So these are still loose. So time to move on. Okay, so I now have the X rail installed. I'm a little confused about which way is X and which way is Y. I'm thinking that, so this is the X rail, that this direction here is X. And I guess this direction here is Y. I don't know. We use the centering 3D printed pieces to get this guy on correct, centered. It's 13.5 millimeters from the end. It's attached from 3 bolts underneath on each side. Brought it all the way here up against the end stop to on both sides to make sure it's straight. And yeah, I think it's coming together. I think I got all the. So I'm gonna move on to the next step. Okay, so I got the slider plate on this X. This is the X slider plate. And I'm seeing some like dimples in the, it's kind of threaded. I'm not really seeing it in the instructions, but there's like a bolt on the back side that's threaded. So it's possibly these are in upside down. I guess we'll find out. Oh, and one thing I was going to say is that the 3 bolts on this side, you know, everything else, the threads on all the holes have been really good. This is like the one place where it took some extra force to get the bolts in. So hopefully that's just a fluke, but we're mostly done anyway, I think. Okay, well, looking ahead to the next step, I see I had this rail on the wrong side. Here, it's supposed to be on the side of this top piece here. Yeah, so this is the head actually connects to this piece. It looks like the thing that picks the parts up is connected to here. And so it needs to be like this. Yeah, and then we're going to run the belt next. It's really helpful to have the pictures of the full assembled machine that PandaPlacer sent me by email, because it helps you out in these situations figuring out which way is up. Okay, but anyway, it's easy to take it out and put it back in the right way. Okay, well, I got the X belt on, and I realized as part of that I didn't have these end stops put in, so I put those in because this thing was about to go off the rails, literally. So we got that in now. And this seems like so good. I'm not sure about the note about the tensioner. I put it in there because my belt was a little bit loose. I guess it's good now. I don't know. Seems like it's okay. I'll pull out this. That's how far I pull before it starts moving. I guess we'll find out if that's good enough or not. Okay, so just installed the Y-axis belts here and here. It says to keep the length short here, so I kind of trimmed them as much as I could. I guess that so I can go all the way to the stop and not get caught up in here. So I think I did that. Maybe I still have to check, but it looks like it goes all the way to the stops. Then then I tighten the set screws in these guys right here, and I think that's kind of it. Wasn't exactly sure how tight to get the belts. They're not super tight, but I think that maybe that's good enough. A little bit of belt left over there. So that's good. Can probably replace one of these. Yeah, I guess it's time to move on. Okay, well, we're getting into the more interesting bits now. I just installed 2 of the screws that mount this, the actual pick and place heads to the frame. I see what he's saying about how the interferes. So you have to move. If I understand it right, I had to move one up and one down to get to these 2 screws, and then next I have to do like this and put in the other 2 screws. One kind of negative thing is that one of these 4 things in the back, I think it's this one, was bent, and the screw is essentially stripped on the other side. But the 3 other ones are good, so maybe it's fine. Maybe this might just be for the cover. If that's true, I'm not sure. Have to see what this is for, whether it matters or not. Hopefully it doesn't matter. If it matters, I'd have to replace one of these things, but it shouldn't be too hard. So I just noticed I was supposed to install nuts on the back side of this thing on those 4 bolts. So I did it, but it seemed a little bit unnecessary because the holes were already threaded. But okay, oh well, move on. All right, I just connected these springs here with this M3x6 screw. And there's actually quite a bit of force on these. It's kind of surprising. But okay, moving on. All right, so this next step is with the vacuum tubing. I'm supposed to run it through that little hole there. Put 2 in here, about halfway. It says 50 millimeters. I think that means 25 plus 25 is 50. So I'm going about halfway here. And then I have 25 coming out the end, which I guess I sort of have. And then I'm supposed to make it 40 millimeters. So I think if my math is right here, one's supposed to be longer than the other. So I need to come back about 20 millimeters. No, 40 millimeters. It's about 20 millimeters. Wait a minute, that's not right. 40 millimeters. Okay, so it's about 2 centimeters. So I guess I need to cut it right at about 2 here, and then that'll make one 40 centimeters longer than the other. Okay, so I made these tubes 40, one of them's 40 millimeters, approximately longer than the other. I guess that's about right. And I got this D6, what is it, D6L40 tubes installed here. So now I'm supposed to stick these guys, stick the longer one in on this side. And oh, that's a little bit of a trick there. Let's get this guy in. Okay, yeah, that goes in. And then the shorter one over on this side. Which one doesn't quite want to go in. Okay, I think I got it. Alright. Okay, so got that done. Got the ends over here. Looks like time to move on. Okay, so I had to open up box 3 to find this thing. And then it took me a minute, but I found these cables, FFC cables, in box number 1. And so I think these are bottom contact connectors here. I think the important thing here is to have the blue part up. And then the black thing you basically pull out and stick the cable in and then push the black thing back in. So the black thing comes in, from this view, it goes down and then up just a little bit. That locks it in. All right, so I got that part done, I think. Now I need to attach it. Okay, so I got the circuit board mounted here. That was kind of an interesting trick though, actually. He's using little metal brackets that, get soldered to the circuit board. There's like corner brackets to attach the circuit board to this thing. I have to remember that. That's kind of neat. I haven't seen that before. Oh, I just realized I used the wrong air tube here. I'm supposed to use this double one for this previous step. I used a single one instead. Let's see how much trouble that gets me in. This stuff is more stiff and this is more rubbery. So that might be a problem. Let's see. And now I'm trying to find this double-sided tape. I can't find it anywhere. Okay, well it seems there actually was this double tube in box 2 that I didn't notice. So I replaced those 2 single tubes with the double tube. And also I didn't realize that it's supposed to go past and then up in a loop into the things. So I fixed that now. PandaPlacer told me that what I was doing wasn't right. So this, I guess, is the way it's supposed to be. And it kind of just barely clears over here. And the tube just barely clears these 2 black things, but I guess it's fine. Seems like it works. The motion seems good all the way from one side to the other, so that's good. And how much? I may have used a little bit extra. I don't think it matters, so if it does matter, I can always shorten it later. I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. Now, in terms of the sticky tape for this thing, I can't find it in any of the boxes, but it's okay because I have some double-sided tape of my own, so I'll just put that on there. Well, I still haven't been able to find the 2-sided tape in the kit, so I just use I got my own here. I just cut it and stick it 20 centimeters here. Put the FFC cable in there. So moving on. Okay, well I feel like I'm making progress here. So I got this the circuit board attached to the head, and remember there was one of these. We got these long hex standoffs got like bent and stripped at the other end. It seems like that doesn't matter because the 5 remaining, plus it still acts as a spacer. So I think that's fine. I just had to hold it while I tightened from the behind while I tightened the screw. I think I got everything hooked up. All these plugs are all polarized, so I don't think it's possible to put them in backwards. I got the cable in again. It's one of those ones where you push this black bar out, you stick the thing in, and then you push the black part back in to lock it in place. So I think that's kind of all done. I got the camera installed and it's hooked up. There was this little piece that fell off. I'm not exactly sure where it came from, but I think it might have just been like a cap on one of these guys, so I'm not gonna worry about it for now. Okay, so these tube assemblies were particularly challenging. So I couldn't find D6L40, but I did find D6L30, so I just used those instead. Let's see if that flies. Pushing these D4 tubes, the little ones, onto this T-connector was a bit of a challenge. I got them just past the barb, I think, so I'm gonna assume that's good enough there. I think they're on there pretty tight. It's very hard to get it to go any further. And the D4L65, well, I couldn't find that, so I just made it from the D4 tube, the long piece of D4 tube that the kit came with. Let's see if that flies. Okay, so I have these T-hose connectors installed now. The big tube going to the valve. The little short tubes go to these sensors. That's kind of fancy. I didn't expect that. And then the front ones go to these quick connect things I just screwed in. And then the hose you just push in to lock in. So these things, I just did them hand tight, and you have to hold the bottom in order to tighten it because it rotates. So hopefully hand tight is good enough. Let's see. All right, so the instructions now say to put on the optional cover for the top. I'm gonna skip that for now because I may have made a mistake, and I'll come back to that later. It's like just have to undo these things and then screw. I got places to screw it in here, but I'm gonna hold off on it. I got what they call the support aluminum profile installed here. It was a little unclear where it goes, but I'm pretty sure it goes over here between the one that says front left and the one that says back left. And it's kind of clear. It looks like this ribbon's going to go in there, and it looks like this vacuum tube might too. So I think they're saying you want to center it between front and back here. So I kind of have it centered in here. Yeah, the holes in these parts seem a little bit too big for these screws, but I guess it works, so it's fine. All right, so I got this tray installed here that the double tube goes through, and you put this little cap on top, and then the double-sided tape. I found the double-sided tape. I didn't realize that was double-sided tape. But anyway, so I found that. I got that on here. This ribbon's gonna go on top. And then I realized I made a mistake over here with this double hose. I cut it 25 centimeters after, but I realized that there was actually a photo from over in this area. So I wasn't supposed to cut this at all. So for now, I'm using some of these. I'm using two of these guys to connect the part that I cut off, and we'll see if hopefully there were spares of these. We'll see. If not, I think I have some vacuum tube myself. So, and it's a little bit short now too. It's supposed to go all the way down the bottom, but we'll see. It'll probably be okay. It's also installed a little tie wrap here that holds the tube. I think that helps to keep the tube off the ribbon. So now, the thing, I think it's moving like it's supposed to be. Here's my joint that I had to make because I cut the tube short when I shouldn't have. But looks like it works. So moving on. Okay, so I just mounted this camera, bottom camera. I think I got this in right. Just like the picture, you got the two holes here with the thing on the top, connector on the top. So I think that looks good. And also, by the way, while I'm putting this thing together, I've been printing out these bamboo feeder parts with my new printer here. It's working out really well, I think. They're so it looks like everybody's doing white, but the instructions, they say it's white tape it's better with black. So I'm doing that because I have some 0402 parts, and I'll take all the help I can get. But the other ones I've done were white. Okay, so I mounted the fiducial guy, mounted this guy to the bar, 91 millimeters from the end. Yeah, I'm feeling like we're getting closer. Okay, so I'm working on these PCB holders now, and I realized now that there's 3 different sizes, and to be like the docks, I should have printed out 2 of these, the smaller ones. So I'm doing that now. It's busy at work over here. Shouldn't be long. And then I'll just save these long ones. And I guess if I was to actually use them, I guess I'd have to print out a second one. I don't think I have boards that big, at least not now anyway. And then it also comes with these, what do they call them? Let's see, thumb screws. I guess with the second rail, you're supposed to use these instead of the M3x16, so you can more easily move the rail and slide in your PC. See, my manual pick and place has like a spring-driven system, so you can push against the rail, and it pushes against springs, and then it springs back. Might have to look into later if that's a better idea for here. But okay, moving on. Okay, so I printed out a new PCB holder here, and I put the thumb screws in here. I'm probably just going to remove these 2 long ones. I think they're going to interfere with the feeders as well. I'm not 100% sure about that. But yeah, I think I'm just going to remove them. I don't think I'm going to have any boards that big. And I put in the nozzle holder, but there was a problem with these guys. I think I printed them out the wrong way. I think I printed it out like this, and I should have done it like this because I got all these things in here. I cleaned them out of this guy, but I think I'm gonna print this one over again. Okay, so I attached the motion controller board. And I also put the little heat sink on, and then I realized that this other heat sink, that must go on this guy, so I put him on. And I just noticed now that this probably needs to be connected to here. So I missed that somehow. Okay. And then also I found a little bag of these screws that I think are the ones that are supposed to go onto here to hold this down. Which I stole these screws from a Panda feeder, and bamboo feeder, so they look like the same screws, so maybe I'll just set these back. Maybe it's okay. Okay, so it turned out I had the board in the wrong way. I think it's supposed to be like this after looking at some pictures, more pictures, and I think I have everything wired, hooked up now. There's a couple things I don't understand though. It's something about a reset switch. I don't think I have that anywhere. It says it's optional or recommended. And then there's something about connecting the bottom camera to a computer. And I'm not really sure why I do that. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess we'll find out later, I guess. All right, so I got all the feeder things in. I think I almost made a mistake here. I thought maybe RX would go to RX, but it looks like RX goes to TX, because I saw in the photo you can see the connector, USB connector here. So I think I hopefully have that right. And I connect these two sides together with this one, and I connected this one to, these have jumpers that say what address they are. And it's this jumpers 1, 2, and 4, so it's added up. So this has a jumper on 1, so it's 1. This has a jumper on 2, so it's 2. This has a jumper on 1 and 2, so it's 3. This one has a jumper on 4, so it's 4. That one's 5 down there. And the next thing to do is power it up. Okay, so I got these guys in now, the feeder connectors. I have a little USB thing over here, and the USB connector is supposed to be on the bottom side. So that connects RX on one side and TX on the other. Which I had that backwards at first. I gotta get that right. You gotta be able to see the USB connector on the bottom here. When you look up, you can see the USB connector on this side. And then the numbers have jumpers 1, 2, and 4, like binary, to say which unit these are, the address. So this is 0 with no jumpers. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3, and it's 4. And I hooked up these jumpers to connect them. Hopefully that's right. And then I got the power cable. So I guess they only really have to connect the power. When you go to those yellow things on the main board, I guess it says I only have to connect the power to 1 and 5, but there is a 5. I don't have a 5, but I hooked up 4 anyway. Maybe I don't have to, but I did. And next up is the turn on the power. Okay. So here it is, it's all put together. I'm about to apply power and see what explodes and what doesn't. Yeah, so here we go. And then the next bit is going to be software, which looks like a lot of work, but we'll see. All right, so here's the power. It's on. It's my little Panda. Came over one of the box number 2 there. Got a lot of spare parts you can see lying around. A lot of spare nuts and bolts. I think that's not, hopefully that's not a bad thing. So here we go, we're connecting power, let's see what happens. Okay, so there's some lights on the feeder. Oh, I heard something made a little noise. Let's see. There's some lights on this main board. There's lights on these feeders. I don't know what beeped. I think that might have been the head. I don't see any lights on the... Is there lights on the head? Let me see. I'm not seeing any lights on the head. Still loose too, so it's not being commanded. Let's see. I wonder if it has supposed to have lights. I do see a LED. Let's see, does this axis move? This axis is stiff. This axis is no light. I think something might not be connected. I gotta check these connections. All right, so I got out my multimeter and I measured this top pin on the left. It has 3 volts on it. And something over here, I think it was maybe this one had 3 volts on it. So I think at least power is getting to these top boards, and maybe they just don't have lights. So I'll just continue on for now, get into configuration. So I installed the software, and it says before I turn on, I'm supposed to check for these things, and I see the cameras, but the feeder is not here, I think. So I think that's because I didn't connect it. So I'm guessing I need to connect this USB-C up in here. Ugh. Let's see. All right, so I got the USB cable connected there. I guess I should connect it over here. Okay, so I hear something. Okay, now it does find it, but it's got a problem. Let's see what the problem is. Update driver. Oh, wait. I don't know what happened. I guess somehow that worked. Now it shows up. Yes, okay. It shows up right. I guess making some progress. Alright, so I hit the power button over here. Wait a minute. And I get the music, but then it doesn't turn on like it's supposed to, and I get this something with the feeder. So I'm gonna have to try cycling power on the machine, see if that gets rid of it. Okay, so it looks like this little USB serial adapter like must have popped out when I was putting the connector in. So now I reset that, and now the machine's happy. OpenPNP's happy. I mean, I guess it's time to go on to homing. Let's see. There's homing. It's machine homing. Okay, so let's hit this button, see what happens. Hit the home button over here. It's moving. Uh-oh, something's wrong. Okay, so I think I got the stop situation resolved, so the micro switch can close now. So I'm gonna try homing again. Hit the home button over here. Oh, no, it's not. Now I'm getting the error from the controller. Okay, I'm gonna cycle power. Let me try. Well, I didn't get the happy music. I'll try hitting home again. I'm reading from the controller. Huh. Okay, let's try this again. I'll try home again. Well, it seemed after that homing snafu, I needed to hit the power button, get a bunch of error messages, and hit it again. Maybe I should have just closed the program. But anyway, I did it, so I'm gonna hit home again. Hit home, see what happens. Okay, so now it's, this one's moving again. This one, I move the stop back, so I should be able to hit the switch now. Okay. So these front things are moving. I guess it's, all right, I guess it's done. All right, funny without the actuators, I don't see the vacuum pumps working. I think it's because I got them plugged into the wrong spot down here. I have them on this XMOS, whatever that is, and it's supposed to be over here. So I'm gonna move those. Well, I just made a huge mistake troubleshooting this camera, the vacuum. I was getting weird vacuum readings, and the vacuum here at the bottle seems good, but it's after that, it's kind of like zero. And I think what it is because these things are basically open here. Yeah, maybe if the valve is closed. Yeah, I think I was opening this valve instead of closing it. That might be part of the problem. But anyway, I thought maybe I needed to have a nozzle in here. I think I might be wrong about that now that I think about it, because if this thing's closed, so I'm not sure if this vents the air when it's, I guess it doesn't look like it has a vent, so it just stops applying vacuum. But in any event, well, the major blunder was I took this, I thought this was a protective cap that you take off to put the nozzles in, but actually this thing presses against some ball bearings. It's a rubber collar that presses against some ball bearings, and I took this rubber thing off, the ball bearings fell out. So don't do that. I found 2 of them, put them back in, but I think I'm missing one. It seems to be okay without it though, so maybe I'll be all right. Yeah, so just to wrap up with the vacuum here, I did have to like reach over and put my fingers on these nozzles to stop the vacuum, and that's with the valves on. And then I could hear the pumps engage, and then when I did that, the values on the computer started making sense instead of jumping around. Okay, so that's the trick there, is you have to stop this vacuum in order to get a good reading. All right, so I guess I got the vacuum kind of done. It was enough. This came out too short. There was enough of these connectors and stuff, and plus I got the bottle that comes with some connectors. So I think I got it all going. Using both pumps. and they suggested connecting a tube here. So instead of trying to shove this little tube onto this T, I used an extra one of these D630s. So I used those here and here also, and also used them to connect these two together. So I'm glad there were extras of those. At least I think there's extra, because I think I'm done with it. So the getting things going here, I had an issue with the fiducial locator using the camera. That's pretty awesome, by the way. So it, instead of using just the relays, I mean the switches, it actually uses the fiducial marker with the camera. But I had a problem with giving it error, something about C2, and I asked PandaPlacer about it. They told me that it might be something in the pipeline. So so I'm looking here and I see a pipeline thing. I went to edit that, and the error said something about circular 2, and I saw a circular 2 in here, and I saw it wasn't checked. I checked it, and then now the fiducial seems to work. So that was one problem. So I just I saved that. Then the next thing was I got the demo circuit board up there, and I load the job, and so for some reason, so when you do the first thing, this part, I found out you really can only have 3 things selected or it errors out. And then this part also seems to only allow 3 things or it gives an error. So I don't know what's exactly going on there, but I unchecked this first one, and now it's pretty awesome. You click the button and it automatically lines up the board, and I guess every time you do that, it sets the XY values. And the Z value, I have to remember, I had to copy that over from that math we did earlier. So I had to do this a couple times to figure out, to get it right. But this is the this default PCB Z height, bottom camera height. You need to take this value and stick it in up here. So I did that. And now I've got some things, these issues. This is kind of interesting. So I think these are probably things that I probably should do, but I'm gonna skip that for now. It's talking about stuff. Things with this error. That's C2, that might be, I wonder if that's related to the error I had earlier with the vision. I don't know. But, things seem to be working at the moment, so I'm gonna work on getting the feeders going. Yeah, so I saw the Nikki does videos on the feeders, and I think I'm gonna copy what he does. I think I need to slide this whole thing forward, because the machine can't actually get to way back here. So I think I need to slide everything forward, and then I saw how I need to mount something under this rail. Now I need to add some parts of this feeder to mount it. I guess it's these parts down here that I was wondering what they were for. Is that the first Nikki does video I saw, I didn't use them, so I was kind of not sure. But this there's another video I just saw PandaPlacer gave me, Nikki does, where it shows how to actually mount these to a thing, and they suggest a fixture to set it, but I'm gonna see if I can get away without that for now. So time to mount these feeders. Well, at least I got one feeder. Hopefully that's enough for now. Okay, so I think I just figured out how this part works from watching the Nikki Does video that showed me how to put them, and looking at the assembly images that show how it goes together. And so basically it's these 3 parts, and the trick is here is you have to put it like this, and then put the long screw through there. There's the long screws. But I guess, so this must be in like the version 1 video that shows you how to do this, but I haven't seen it yet, how to do this. I just figured this out. So the screw, and then you can't tighten it all the way. It has to be a little bit loose. And also these parts are kind of like 3D, they were kind of fused together, the rotating part. So when I first put this together and rotated it, I had to use some force to get it to free itself. But then I think it's good now. And then you have to adjust the little screw. You have to loosen it a little bit so that what you want is that when you get it in here, so it goes in here like, I don't know if I can do this with one hand. Let's see. So get that put in there, yeah, and then you can slide it forward. And then what you want it loose enough so that you can do that and lock it in. I guess that's the trick. So now I think I can mount this to the machine. I still have to figure out what this thing is for. I'm not sure what that is yet. Well, okay, it seems like I'm close to getting this feeder in, but it's like the gap between the end of the feeder and this thing is too much. It's like I need some kind of, I think I need some kind of spacer between this bar and this fixture thing. But I had a feeling I should have watched through the feeder 1 instructions before trying to do this, but I guess I have to go back and figure out what's going on here. Okay, so I'm dealing with this gap here being too big between the end of the feeder and this thing that it locks into. But I think what I realized is, you know, I need to lock that bottom piece that I just figured out to the bar, and then maybe that'll fix that. So I'm gonna try that now. Okay, well, after securing this guy, that screw down there with the what's it called? The T-nut. It seems to all get fixated now. So, and also the T-nut is a little, that one is down there is a little bit, that screw is a little bit loose right now. But also this gap seems a little bit bigger than what it should be, but it's locked in. So I guess that's good. So I guess I should tighten this bolt now, declare victory. And yeah, so I guess I figured out that once you push that in to lock it, and then I guess you push it out like that to unlock it. So, all right, I guess we got it now.